Thank you, Tim. All right, well, we're excited to finally get game week here. Really not a whole lot I don't think we can add today to what we haven't already talked about over the last month, getting ready for this game. We're just, ready to kick it off and happy that it's finally game week, anxious to see our team play. I think this is a team that's going to improve throughout the year. I think we're going to just get better as we go, but you got to start somewhere. And I think we've had a good camp. I really do. I think our guys have, from day one, bought into the things that we've asked them to do. The energy and the sense of urgency has been excellent. The leadership has been really, really good. But you can only get so much done in camp. At some point, you got to go play. We're fairly healthy, but openers are always tough for a lot of different reasons, and especially when you're playing a great opponent like Auburn in a very tough and challenging environment. For your first game. So. But it's a big challenge out of the gate for us. Auburn's got 14 starters back in different roles. Very talented team. A lot of talent, a lot of speed, athleticism, defensively, very good up front. We recruited a lot of those guys that they've got starting for them. They've got very good depth up front. I mean, they're 2 and 3 deep in certain spots in the defensive line. They got 3 starters back in the secondary. Got a transfer in at backer that has played some football. So I think defensively they're going to be a big challenge for us, and then offensively, what they do in and of itself is a big challenge with the amount of formations and the exotics that they kind of present you, movements and shifts and quick huddles, and you have to be very sound and very disciplined in preparing and being able to defend these guys and what they do. They want to run the football. They don't make any bones about it. I think they averaged about 49, 50 rushes a game and about 22 or 23 passes a game last year. So they hang their hat on running the ball. And so the first thing you got to do there is you got to be able to, line up again and handle all the shifts and motions and the personnel groupings that they're going to give you. You got to set the edge. They want to get outside, and then they want to, pound you with all their gap scheme stuff. So you got to contain the football. Number one, I mean that is and part of that is you got to win on the perimeter because they're a big, screen team, and so you got to be able to defeat blocks and get off blocks and not give up, chunk plays with some of their, passing game that's built into the run game. A big play action team where they try to create a lot of chunks of yardage. It's a challenge for us. There's a lot of unknowns, new people. One thing I know, they named 13 as their guy, and this kid can really throw the football. You watch the Arkansas game, just one that sticks out in my mind from last year. He made some not good throws. He made some great throws, and he has a very good pocket presence. He doesn't get rattled. I thought their protection was pretty good last year. They just didn't quite execute or have the consistency that they would have liked to have had. I think they had a lot of drop balls, but this guy did some good things last year from a coach's standpoint that I see on tape. That I'm sure that's what they see, and so he'll be better, and I'm sure the players around him will be more confident as well. But they played a lot of Wildcat last year, whether it be their back or maybe they bring in another quarterback. I don't know. So there's a lot of unknowns as you go into an opener, but that's the way it is every year. And, that's why you have to really know what you do and really have ownership of your systems offensively and defensively so that you can make adjustments and adapt and apply your system to whatever you may see on game day, when you really don't have tape. We're watching a lot of LSU, and the personnel's different, and you're not really sure because maybe they're going to do what they did at LSU. Maybe they're going to do something different because the personnel's different. Who knows? So from a Clemson standpoint, you got to be able to make the adjustment. So that'll be a big part of the game. But hey, we're excited about it. Their kicker and punter's back. Both those guys are really good. And again, you got to start somewhere for us. As I say every year, our first goal is to win the opener, and that's all we're trying to do. It's one of 12. We're not going to win the national championship Saturday. We're not going to lose the national championship Saturday. What I want to see is our football team, where we are right now at this stage, as far as we, can bring them as coaches without playing games. Let's go play the game, see where we are, and then we'll go from there. But we're really just excited, to make the trip and get this thing going.
Coach, you ended with Alabama, start with Auburn. Same thing happened in 2007, 2008, but in reverse. What's it like for you on a personal level, going there with all the memories that you have at Jordan-Hare, both as a player and a coach?
It's fun. I think anytime you get an opportunity to go into a great college venue, it's always a blast, and certainly Auburn is that. I mean, it's one of the best game day environments in all of college football. Great fan base, passionate fan base. It's a beautiful environment down there. So I look forward to it. I think it's fun. And then been competing against Auburn for a long time, but have great respect for their coaches and what they've been able to accomplish over the years, and recognize fully how difficult it is to win there. They're very, very difficult. You're down a touchdown when you get off the bus. It's a tough place to play, and I know that firsthand.
Yeah, well, how would you compare this group offensively to your teams in the past?
I think we got to go play some games before I can really, give you a true assessment of that. But, I think we've got a lot of experience coming back, and I think that we have the potential to be very good offensively. And I don't think that's a big shocking statement. We got a lot of guys that their past performance indicates that they know what to do, have the ability to do it, and do it on the big stage in big moments. So that's exciting from a coaching standpoint when you got that coming back. But, we got to go do it. We got to go do it again. And so I think that this group has a chance to be as good as we've ever had on paper. But, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out.
Does it help knowing Coach Steele the way you do and having worked with him so closely for a few years going into a game like this, or does that relationship not help at all?
No, it doesn't. I'm not going to play, and neither is Coach Steele. So, what helps is your players executing and being able to, do the things that give you a chance to win. But that doesn't have anything to do with it.
Dabo, what is the carryover from the championship game last year? And being in it, first of all, losing it being so close, that you see now before the first game?
I think, I don't know, maybe just maybe a better understanding of what it takes. Maybe that's probably the biggest thing from the previous teams. We've had some really good teams coming back. We've had a lot of consistency over the last 7 years, and but I think this team has an experience to really rally upon and draw upon that none of the other teams have had, because they have that to draw on from last year, and so I think they have a true understanding of what it takes, and just how you got to get ready every week, the focus that it takes, the attention to details, the commitment, being able to handle being the target every single week, getting everybody's best effort every single week, all that comes with a 15-game run, and overcoming injuries and adversity along the way. So I think they have a strong appreciation and, again, a better understanding of maybe what it takes. I think the previous teams, had some type of understanding, but until you really have experienced something, it's really hard to truly know. So hopefully that'll be something that'll be a positive for us and, help us to weather some storms this season.
What do you see from Mike Williams as far as where he is relative to the last time he got to play?
Better. I mean, way better than he was this time last year going into the first game. More focused. I think probably a better appreciation for his talent and just the opportunity to play, to play football, his health. But he's just he's best he's ever been since he's been here. So he's the best version of Mike Williams that I've seen. And that's a credit to his work ethic and his commitment and what he's done in the weight room and all those type of things. But he's a special player.
Any update on where Austin Bryant is with the foot injury?
Getting better. I think he was on the underwater treadmill, I think yesterday. So he's making good progress. He's off his crutches and all that. He's walking. So just a matter of going through the process. But he's getting better.
Given all the deception that you talked about with Auburn, is inexperience more of a concern going against that defensive end or DB, safety?
Yeah.
What's your sort of?
Well, I'm confident in our guys. I think that our corners are pretty experienced. I think they've. Mark's been here a year. He's seen a lot. Carter's been around the block. Cordre's played a lot of football. And I think Van and Jadar have demonstrated that they know what they're doing. They've not made a lot of mistakes in our camp. So I'm very confident with those guys. Our depth is inexperienced at safety. That's probably the greenest area. I really like our guys. Corinne gives us another guy that's got some experience as well. But, Denzel and Muse are going to be good players, but they're just green. They hadn't played. But I think all the other positions, we've got the type of competitive depth that's going to allow us to hold up. I know what I've seen on our practice field from Richard Yergin and from Christian and from Clee, from Register. I know what I've seen, and so I think that there's some good carryover going into this game that will allow them to have a chance to perform well.
Will Edmund be able to play full Saturday?
I think we'll know probably by Thursday. He's practicing full go. And again, working his way back. I don't know that he's probably 100% confident. I think he's close to being 100% healthy. But again, he missed a lot. And so until you really just kind of get those legs back the way they need to be and get enough of the fastball, but I definitely think that he would be available for us.
The coaching continuity you've had the last few years, you haven't had to fire a lot of guys. What was that like after the Orange Bowl, having to have that meeting with Kevin?
Well, that's not something that I hope I ever have to do a lot of. Not something that, I hope that I think continuity is a great thing, and you strive for that, I think, in everything you do. But from time to time, in anything, not just football, from time to time, sometimes when you're in a leadership position, you have to make tough decisions. And sometimes change comes with those decisions. Just like sometimes the people above me, I have bosses, and they may make a decision to get rid of me one day. And that's just the way it is. But it's not an easy thing to do at all, especially when you have great respect for the people that are involved. It was just what I felt like we needed to do at the time. And right, wrong, whatever. And it's certainly not an easy thing at all. But I think, when you're the leader, sometimes you have to make challenging and difficult decisions and live with it.
What's it like for you personally to go into a game and have someone like Kevin, who you've coached with, now being on the other sideline coaching against you?
Oh, that happens about every week. To be honest with you, I mean, it really does. I mean, there's so many relationships that are intertwined in this business, this profession, that, good friends or former colleagues, what have you, because the coaching profession is a big fraternity. It is a networking business, and football coaches are different from probably other coaches because we spend a lot of time together. We share information, we communicate, we are always trying to get better, and so, I've been doing it long enough now that there's very seldom a team that we play that there's not some type of friend or colleague on that staff. Very seldom. That just comes with the territory.
Dabo, why do you think it is that many college football teams do not come out and stand on the field for the national anthem? And here at Clemson, would you like to see that change?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, why that's that way. I know we did it for the national championship game. I thought it was awesome, but I don't know. They did it for all the other sports. I don't know why it's that way. I always thought maybe at Clemson it was because of the timing of the rock and the hill and the bus around and just the pregame traditions that we have here. But I don't really know why. Other than that.
It's obviously uncommon for a true freshman to start at left tackle. I'm just curious what you saw in the growth in Hyatt from all through last season, and what the sort of return on investment you're going to get going forward from having that kind of experience with somebody that young.
Well, I mean, we're certainly way better right now going into this opener than we were going into Wofford last year. That's for sure. We just know more. And we have more experience, and I think that is a huge benefit. I mean, here's a guy that is, just out of high school. He's a little undersized, wasn't quite what he needed to be physically at that point, but he was the best we had. And you go play. 15 games later, nobody was asking me about the true freshman left tackle anymore, because he just did his job all year. And now he's had another full off season, and he's 300-pounder. He's stronger. He's more confident. He's got the experience to go with the talent now. And so, I mean, that bodes well. Certainly not a negative as we go into this season. I think it, allows us to hopefully bring a couple other guys along and, and have a lot of confidence in that guy over on the left.
Given the competitive games you've had against Auburn and the memories that have been created by those recent games, I know you play them next year here, I believe.
Yep.
But going forward, they're off the schedule for a while, I'm guessing. Is that a rivalry you'd like to see kind of renewed whenever possible on behalf of? Well,
I mean, I've been on the record many times. Kind of, I like the 8+2 for us. I think that's one of the reasons we've been able to grow our program. Because we've been able to go play people. And, I mean, if it was up to me, we'd play Georgia every year. But just because to me that makes sense. They're just down the road, and there's a lot of tradition in that. And you get beat every year too. But I think that from what we're trying to do within our conference, and to be able to step out and play Georgia and South Carolina every year, I think that's great. But that's not where we are. But we try to keep that ability to go and play somebody that you wouldn't normally see. And Auburn is a great opponent. We played them. I guess we played them 3 years in a row at one point. And I think we were supposed to play Ole Miss this year. I can't remember. That stuff's done so far in advance, and I think that with Notre Dame came in, all that stuff got changed, and we ended up with Auburn for 2 years, following up Georgia for 2 years. But I just like the fact that we can step out of conference, and obviously we're going to play South Carolina every year, but to be able to go and play somebody that kind of gives you a different feel outside of your league that you maybe don't know as much about or see as often, I think that's a good measuring stick for you as a program. And we got Auburn one more year, and I believe we've got Texas A&M for a couple of years after that. And plus Notre Dame is in that mix too. So I think we got a good schedule, but I enjoy it. I think it's been a tough challenge over the last 7 years, but and it's always better when you win those games. But I think that, that's one of the things that has allowed us to build the culture of our program and the mentality that you have to win those type of games.
Dabo, I'm guessing that your Alabama friends and teammates who wished you well back in January but were maybe on the fence are all in right now.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. Oh yeah. We're all one big happy family once again. There's no doubt about that.
Coach, after Clemson played there in 2010, Kevin Steele, told us that the headsets went out for a large part of that critical third quarter. Do you have contingencies for that type of thing happening? Because it's obviously happened there before. Do you have contingencies for headsets going out?
Yeah, just everybody come on down, boys, and we'll just handle it from the sideline. I mean, that's our contingency. That's about it. We got enough good coaches on the field, and we can keep rocking and rolling. That didn't have nothing to do with us losing down there. I mean, they won, they beat us. We had opportunities to win and didn't get it done. But when those type things happen, it's supposed to be the same for both teams. But if you had some crazy situation like that, we just wave at them to come on down, and see if we can hold on till everybody gets there. That's the only contingency we got.
Dabo, can you talk about the metamorphosis of you and the program, how it kind of mirrors itself from being a guy that gets this job and, with something to prove and a fighter, and then now to where there's expectations here, being in a national championship game. What has changed about you and the program and everything and helps you keep that edge?
There's nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. We still got a lot to prove. I'm as hungry as I've ever been, probably more so. And last time I checked, every time we lined up to play in 2009, we were expected to win. And when we didn't, there wasn't nobody in here going, oh, it's okay. We didn't really mean to win that game. We didn't have to win that game. So when you get the job at Clemson, the expectations are always there. So nothing has changed here. And, we're trying to go for our 6th 10-plus win season in a row. So that's when I got the job, that was the expectation of what we should be as a program at Clemson. And so my expectation is that we still got a long ways to go. We're just, we've made good progress, but, until we go win 2 or 3 national championships, we're just little old Clemson.
Do you have to talk to your team about that, about all the things that went right last year, just maybe an assumption that they're going to go right this year? Do you have to protect against maybe some level of complacency because so many things went well for you last year?
I think, when you've had a lot of success, I think that's what happens when you see programs go like that. They have a lot of success, and they're like this, and that's the thing I'm most proud of our team is we haven't been that way. We've been very consistent, as consistent as anybody in the country. That's culture. As I've said many times, we don't want to just have a good team. We want to have a great program. And when you have success, that's the thing you got to always guard against is complacency. And that's what coaching's all about. That's just the daily climate that you create. There ain't no complacency around here. We all live by that windshield mentality in this program. It's all about what's next, period, the end. And we don't spend a lot of time patting each other on the back on what we did last year. You know what? And we don't spend a lot of time dwelling on our failure either. We're just trying to get better. And I think if you're any type of company or football team or whatever, and you're going to maintain any level of consistency, you got to always keep getting better. And that's what, when people start saying, well, man, they're a great program. Well, the only reason anybody's going to say that is because you've been incredibly consistent for a long period of time. And that's all we're trying to do. I don't measure the seasons by wins and losses. I really don't. I measure the seasons on preparation and commitment and character and discipline and toughness. Those are the things that I measure our seasons with. We may go 9-3, and there's a lot of people out there that say we had a bad year. Well, I don't look at it that way. There's a lot of things that can determine a win or a loss on a scoreboard. I'm more concerned about how we do things, because I know if we're committed to doing things the right way, then we can have consistency. When you've got the talent that we have here.
Watching film with LSU, how much have you seen Kevin Steele's defense has changed maybe from when he was here to now?
Not a lot. I mean, tough, physical, well coached, aggressive. Kevin Steele's a heck of a coach, always has been. And we didn't have a change here because he wasn't a good coach. He's knows what he's doing, and he did a great job at LSU last year. But he's always been an in-your-face, attacking type of a defensive guy, and I don't expect that to change.
Dabo, what have you guys done to make your coverage teams better over the last 3 or 4 weeks?
Well, we've done a lot. We learned from last year. We've studied ourselves. We've studied other people. We've met with other people. We really evaluated our personnel and everything, you name it, we've done it. And we've peeled the onion back every layer you can to evaluate and get better. We're excited to hit the field and see if we can have a much better year this year in that particular area.
Who'd you meet with?
I'm not going to get into a couple of people we met with, but we actually had 3 different consultants that I wanted a fresh view from, and it was very consistent. Very consistent. A lot of good, a lot of positive, a lot of really good things, but there were some definite things that we were able to learn from too. Just like we do with offense, just like we do with defense. So it was good.
Coach, all August long, you're trying to find a backup for punter other than Hunter Renfro. No changes there on the depth chart. If something should happen to Teasall, do you know who you'll send out there?
Right now, Hunter's I'm kind of my comfort zone with him because he's just a baller. But I really like the candidates that we have. I think we're in a really good place for the future of that position. Between Carson King and Will Spires and Michael Batson. I think those 3 guys, that's going to be a competitive battle as we go on. Right now, Carson King, just with the amount of competitive kicks that we've had, it's close. But right now between King and Spires. But Spires hasn't been redshirted. Would love to redshirt him, love to throw his butt down there in the powwow. He's a big old 6'6" kid that I think's got a chance to be really special. But King right now would be our next guy. So we'll make that decision, a little bit later. But, he's had a pretty good camp.
You mentioned getting a lot of support from your Alabama, friends and ties and so forth. Do you still talk to Coach Stallings much, and how much did he influence you as far as being a coach and your style of coaching?
Yeah, I talked to Coach quite a bit. Just talked to him last week, as a matter of fact, and went to we had a big Coach Stallings reunion back in June in Tuscaloosa, and that was a blast. Got a chance to spend a weekend with a bunch of old teammates and just telling stories. So we had a good time. His grandson is a freshman for me here, J.C. Chalk. So Coach, he's planning on hopefully making a couple games this year. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Coach Stallings. I mean, he's been a great mentor for me. He's a great friend, and has been a big time influence and example to me in a lot of ways. So I was with him for all 7 years at Alabama, and did not know how fortunate I was until way after the fact.
Do you have a specific role in mind heading into the game for Tavian Feaster when he plays? How much you want to see him play, or will just the flow of the game dictate all that?
Yeah, just flow of the game.